she exactly follows the effectuation principles: bird in hand, affordable loss, and quilt principle. And
Okay.
I'm not joking. Actually, I use movies of animals. I use movies of animals to explain these concepts of quilt collaboration and how creative they are, how they arrange resources. They do not beg anything, and that
Mhm.
is how I teach them actually.
Oh, that is a good idea. I'll have to look at that. Maybe we can teach my students some of those
I
ideas.
use the example of beaver. I show them a video of 3 minutes, a
Uh-huh.
beaver's video, Beaver and Mrs. Beaver and the kids Beaver, and we use that.
Oh. Oh, that sounds fascinating. I would love to see
I
that.
will I will share you what I do, and then I even use the story of Moses to explain entrepreneurship. You know that?
Okay.
Yeah, I tell
How do
them that look, how we use that because Moses uh, in our course we tell them that the first principle in entrepreneurship is that you should have very less to lose in your life.
mm-hmm.
You should be prepared to live a life in which you have very less to lose.
Okay.
Because then whatever you do, then your risk taking propensity goes high, because you can live with less water, less food, less building. And then I
Mm-hmm.
tell them the story of Moses, that look, Moses could live only with a stick. That's
Mm-hmm.
it, a stick. And he used to graze sheep. He could get leaves from the trees, and he could lay down. He use the stick to lay down, and he had only one gown, and he could use this as his bed. And he was resilient. He could walk. He could walk. He could do any task, and he was ready to do any small task. So
Mm-hmm.
small task and simple lifestyle is the foundation of entrepreneurship. That's how we share the life of Moses. Does it
I
make
like it.
sense?
It makes sense.
And it's more sustainable. And I just relate to some verses in Quran. The Moses story is mentioned. Inna
Mhm.
haza lafi suhufil ula, suhufi Ibrahim wa Musa. So we call in Quran Arabic is called Musa. Moses is called Musa. So
Right.
and so it's and it makes and his story is so his stories are told so much in our holy book. That's why I started using it in my entrepreneurship course, because it's easy, it's relevant, it's organic, it's natural. And about animals and for example, the animals which I use, the camel. I use
Uh-huh.
the camel, the beaver, the ant, and the honeybee.
Mm.
These are and my own cats. I bring, so I use this, and even in my PhD course and an MBA and undergrad and class 9 courses.
Uh-huh.
And these animals are amazing. They tell us that how can we create our own living? How can we fulfill our own needs? You see, the beaver is following your sustainability lens model. The beaver
Mm-hmm.
makes a dam. It ensures that it doesn't create environmental pollution. It ensures that it does not create any chaos. It helps other animals, human beings. It makes dams which are environmentally and socially sustainable. Wow. So sorry, it's your time. Over to you. And it was just warm up thing, which we I will tell you how I got into these things. I will tell you separately that it was an incident which took place in Germany which made me think like that. I
Mm.
was looking into complex theories, and even our own babies, Tamara, like class 2, 3 old kids, 1, 2 years old kids. Even I use their examples in risk taking. Wow, amazing stories coming up. So over to you. The quick question I think was that there was some electricity shutdown taking place so frequently. One idea is that we can make two groups, and I could not also come yesterday, but I will take the responsibility today And if you make 2 or 3 groups, then I will ensure that they do everything and then we can grade them. I'm sorry
Okay.
for the electrical power shutdown. And I will request all the class to please, in the last remaining 3 days, let's try our best. Because once again I tell you, the knowledge and the wisdom which Dr. Tamara is bringing in, I haven't found that. It is in its infancy in the world. And many few professors in the world are talking about it. Very few professors. So, and Dr. Tamara is on the forefront. We should learn from her and try to make this world a better world. Please, over to Dr. Tamara.
Okay, so good morning, everybody, or good afternoon for most of you, right? For me, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. So how is everybody doing today? Good. Yeah. Anybody feeling a little bit overwhelmed, sort of lost? Anyone not doing okay today? I see a lot of thumbs up. This is good. I'll keep looking through our class. Feel free to put a thumbs down if you're having a hard time, and we'll listen to what's going on. I see some people not responding.
Gentlemen, please respond. And if you haven't done, then please tell honestly and then try to do it tonight. And let's do it, and I will be following it up and trying to help you. I understand there were a lot of electricity problems in Karachi, and we had some rain as well. But please, we have to find out a way. We're not going to stop. Ji Huda, would you like to share and tell anything? Huda, Murtaza, Muzammil, Ahsan Rashid. Ahsan Rashid, यार कुर्सी पे बैठा करो यार. वो ऐसा लगता है हमें भी नींद आनी शुरू हो जाती है आपको देख के.
जी, sorry sir, मैं
Huda, can you please share something? Keep on smiling, but talk as well.
So what do you want me to share?
If anybody has any questions or concerns, so we have, I believe, are we considering this day 4 of our class? I know one day I wasn't able to be here, but I made a video. So I think tomorrow is our last day. Am I correct?
Yes,
Okay.
this is day 4.
Day 4. So what I want to do is make sure that people are prepared for tomorrow. So I want to make sure that we know what's expected of us from the class. And what I'm hoping is tomorrow that we'll have a 90-second pitch, that you can speak for 90 seconds in a compelling way about your enterprise and how it's sustainable and why it's important and what am I going to benefit from by engaging in it? What does it do for me or for the customer? So that's my goal. So what I wanted to do today was introduce to you some of the concepts of what a pitch is. I wanted to go over where you are so far in your projects, because we've been working with the business model canvas. And I have, this was sent to me by, and I want to have permission to be able to use it, Masim Ali. Am I saying your name right? Misam?
It's Misam Ali.
Misam Ali. Is it okay if I use your work as an example today with the lemonade stand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm glad you said yes, because I put your work already in our course Google. So if people need to go into the Google folder, there's actually a copy of Misam. Am I saying your name right, Misam?
Yeah, it's correct.
Okay, good. So there's actually a copy of Misam's lemonade stand. Okay, so what he did was he took the lemonade stand example I gave you and modified it so it made sense in his context. And Misam, why don't I have you just explain to us a quick overview of this lemonade stand you created?
Could you just come to me in 5 minutes because I am having a internet connection problem right now.
Okay. Okay. Will you
Else, Isha? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, so what we'll do is we'll take a look at how do we use the remaining components of our sustainability lens? So today we're going to be looking at permaculture. Okay, so that's page 13 in our workbook. And we're going to be looking at solidarity economy, which is page 14. Okay, I gave you guys a survey yesterday that I put into your folder, and I gave you a new syllabus that has more links on it. So if you go in the folder and you look at the syllabus, you'll see there's some links about things that we were talking about yesterday with the Circles of Sustainability study. And I also put in an example of the Circles of Sustainability survey that I used in Bolivia that you can use yourself. You can modify it in certain ways to make sense, but it gives you a feel of what does it look like when you're reaching out to local communities and understanding where they are, what their needs are. Has anyone had a chance to look at those materials or not yet?
Share, my dear students, please, anybody who got an opportunity. Otherwise, I will be after you tonight and we will make sure we do it today. Anybody? Isha, Parnmada, Asan, Huda?
And I put them in last night. They've only been up for maybe 12 hours, so you might not have had time to look at them.
Okay, we will do it tonight, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, do it tonight.
Yeah.
Take a look. It's more ideas.
What does the word permaculture come from? Permaculture is like agriculture?
Right, so it's like permanent agriculture. So let's go start on that. So if we're looking at permaculture, if we go to our page 13 in our workbook, we have this example of a tree. So permaculture, if we look at the article I gave you guys to read, there's a little paragraph on page 103, right? Because it's part of a larger book. But there's a little paragraph in this article that talks about permaculture. And basically, it's a holistic nature-based model. It creates partnerships, and it's about having a balanced, sustainable way of doing things. So permaculture, it's like permanent agriculture, permanent, I don't know, culture. So, and basically what it's based on is nature. So I always use the image of the apple tree. So if you think about apple trees, you know, what's the purpose of an apple tree? And if you think of it as an enterprise. So what's the purpose of an apple tree? Anyone have an idea? Why do apple trees exist?
To give apples.
Please share, Huda.
To grow apple.
To grow apples. Perfect. I love it, right? Anything else?
To clean the environment.
Okay, yeah, clean the environment.
For shade.
Produce seeds, propagate. So if we think of this in the point of view of the apple tree might think that it exists in order to create offspring, right? A lot of times our goals in life is to make a good world for our children, make sure our children can grow and succeed. So if we think of an apple tree's goal as being able to produce more apple trees to have offspring, we can look at that, how they achieve that goal. They use a lot of systems that do more than just produce another apple tree. Right? To produce another apple tree, I can just grow one apple with a couple of seeds, have it fall on the ground, and I'm done, right? But an apple tree does more than that, okay? So the apple tree produces many apples, but it doesn't produce the apples all by itself. It produces the apples using flowers, right? So it has flowers, but the flowers don't turn into apples until the bees pollinate them. So it needs outside organizations, outside sources helping it. But a bee is not just going to pollinate a flower just so that the tree can have an apple. The bee needs to have a purpose, a reason to engage in that apple tree also. So the apple tree has to make sure it has something to give to that bee so it can get the service that it needs to produce its apples. So what does the apple tree give to bees?
Sugar.
Sugar, right? Nectar, right?
Nectar?
And pollen,
Yeah,
right?
that's the right word. Yeah.
Yep. So nectar, sugar, you know, from the flowers. So it gives the bees food, and then the bees pollinate the flowers to make the apples. Now, the tree also needs energy to be able to grow those flowers in the first place, right? So it gets its energy two ways. Who can tell me one way an apple tree gets energy?
Photosynthesis.
Okay, photosynthesis, right? So it needs leaves. So it needs to grow those leaves in the first place. Where does it get energy to grow those leaves?
From the
Sunshine
soil.
and water.
From the soil. Yeah, so it needs soil, it needs water, it needs nutrients. The nutrients in the soil come from compost. Compost comes from the leaves falling down. So it creates these leaves so it can generate energy from the sun, but then the leaves die in the winter and fall down to the ground. And then other components come in and help those leaves turn into the nutrients that the tree needs. What's working with those leaves? What are the other components? Any ideas? How do leaves get turned into nutrients? Bugs.
They decompose.
Okay, so worms,
They
right? You
mix in
need
the soil.
worms, molds, bacteria, right? So all those little organisms, so they also depend on the tree. So we have these interdependencies, right? So the bees are dependent on the trees for food. The trees are dependent on the bees for pollination. The leaves fall down and decompose. The tree is dependent on the worms and microorganisms for making the leaves into food again, so that it can get energy in its roots and be able to grow new leaves the next year, so that it can then get more energy to grow the flowers and the apples. So what we're looking at in these nature systems, these permaculture systems, so we're looking at systems of redundancy. So that the tree is creating multiple ways of getting energy, where it can pull it from the ground, it can also pull it from the sun. It's creating abundance, where it's not just making one apple that it needs to create more apple trees, but it's creating multiple apples. Also, the apples gives back to the users, right? Because the apple tree doesn't want another baby apple tree right next to it, because then they're going to be fighting for that sunlight. It wants the apple trees a little further away. So the apples have fruit. So that makes animals and people who eat them take them away. So then when those seeds get planted, the apple trees can grow in other places, right? So the apple tree is one system in nature. There's many, many systems that you can look at in nature in this way. So when you start using this nature-based systems thinking called permaculture, and you apply it to a business, it creates a whole new way of looking at your enterprise, your community, and who's around it. So what we're going to do now in our workbook is you guys can use your own enterprise. We'll use the lemonade stand, okay? So if we use the lemonade stand and we apply this permaculture model to it, let's think about that. So we have the roots, right? What would be my roots? And wait, let's take a pause on this lemonade stand. Misam, are you ready to explain to us real quick your lemonade stand so everyone knows what we're talking about?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry. The
Okay.
connection was weak that time. Yeah, my business model canvas was on the fragrance YouTube reviews. I would be like using the key resources would be like I would be using the camera, laptop, and uh, like I would be giving the honest reviews to, and would be earning money from the YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Wait, from YouTube? Wait, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Because I saw Facebook. Or did you have a different, explain your plan again. I'm sorry, I didn't understand it well.
Again, please. We're not able to understand. What is your model?
My model is based on like I would provide the people with the authentic fragrance reviews, like so that they could save themselves from post-purchase regret in the category of fragrances, like on the social media. Mostly it would be on YouTube. I would be giving the reviews, and uh, and the key activities like would be like and my key partners would be the content creators, the fragrance shops, the graphic designers, the cameraman, and the key resources would be camera, laptop, software, fragrances, location, cameraman, and mainly it would be on YouTube, and the teasers would be like on Facebook or other social media websites. It would be a social enterprise So I could provide the people with honest reviews about the fragrances, different fragrances, and the customer. Yes,
Fragrances mean for perfume fragrances or what fragrances?
yeah, perfume fragrances.
Okay. You will
Okay.
be taking. Okay, please carry on.
Yeah. So I got a different, maybe I'm looking at something different. So what I had sent in to me was a lemonade stand model. So that's what I was going to, so it sounds like
somebody
you're
else.
talking about a different business. Yeah. So sorry about that. It's from Misam Ali. Is that a different person? But I love
Maybe you can.
your fragrance idea. So anyway, if we're gonna go, so sorry. So we'll just stay with the lemonade stand because I think that's a simple way to begin with the
I think it's a
permaculture.
simple way. Let's look at that.
That's okay. So if we
better
look
to
at the lemonade stand, and in this model that I had that I put into our folder, this one is talking about getting ingredients, having cups and flyers, a table and chair, some parents helping out. They're going to be selling lemonade to their neighbors, their families, friends, and people walking by. They're also going to have tips, so you can get tips. They have a single price. They're getting some sales from other snacks as well. They're going to let people know about their business from a Facebook group and just having the stand out on the street. They're going to be selling refreshing organic low sugar lemonade and working with parents in stores. So it sounds like kind of like a do-it-yourself, set up a little stand out in front of your house and, sell to the local community. So what we'll do is we'll take this idea, this basic idea, and we'll put it through the permaculture model. Okay. So if we're looking at this or any kind of enterprise, where would be the roots, right? So if we're taking our lemonade stand and we're going to apply permaculture to it, where would the roots be? What part of the business would be the roots? What do you guys think? What's that?
Difficult one.
The idea of the business.
Okay. So the idea of the business.
The roots will be. I think the roots will be the lemon itself. Is it the base? The lemon will be the roots, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. So the lemon could be the roots. Okay. So a lot of times when we're thinking of businesses, we're thinking like, what do the roots do for the tree, right? The roots are what's getting the nutrients. It's what's causing that. It's what's holding that tree together, right? It's the base. Without the roots, we don't have a tree. Okay. So the roots are your customers. All right. A lot of times in businesses, we think about all of the things that we can do and the great, ideas and benefits of our product. But without our customer, we have no business. Okay, so without roots, we have no tree. Okay, we can chop off a branch, cut off some leaves, knock off some apples, we still have a tree. But take away the roots, it's gone. Okay, so the customer is the roots. All right, so when we're looking at these social enterprises or any kind of enterprise, we always want to look at who's our customer, what do they need? What does this business look like from their perspective? And then we have our trunk. Okay, so the trunk is holding up the tree. All right, so what's holding up our organization?
Good lemonade.
Almost. But you need something before you can get lemonade.
Capital, which is the lemon itself.
Quality.
Sort of. But the tree's capital is kind of like energy, right? And the tree can self-generate energy. So sometimes we need a little bit of capital to get going, but then, we can self-generate it. Just like once we get that leaf growing, we can be creating more energy ourselves. So the trunk is actually your workers, okay? The employees, the people that make whatever you do happen. So that service, the people that are building that website, that are smelling those perfumes, that are writing those reviews, without having that labor, someone squeezing those lemons, mixing in the sugar, you don't have a product, right? You don't have a service. You don't have anything that you can give to anybody. So that's where, and that kind of ties in a little more with that munai that we were talking about yesterday, that love, right? And having a place for democratic involvement and for people to be, the workers to be a valued part of the organization. Some organizations even have workers be the owners, okay, or a cooperative where together we're all shareholders, okay? So the roots are your customers. The trunk are your employees, okay, the people that are doing the work. And then the leaves, what are our leaves?
The recipe.
Okay, it could be the recipe, good. Okay, so this is our lemonade stand, okay? Recipe, I might even throw a little bit more into flowers because the flowers are the things that are ultimately creating your apple, right? So the recipe might be a little bit behind that.
The product, leaves can be a product.
What was that?
The leaves can be the offering glass.
I have a little
No,
bit of a
the
bad
apple is the product. The apple is the.
Okay. Yeah, so the leaves can be the energy. Okay. Where's the energy that you're getting from? And energy can be also money. Okay. So where are your financial resources? Where are your energy resources, right? In this particular model, there was ice being used for the lemonade. Well, where are you getting that ice from? How is that being frozen? What kind of electrical systems are being used? You know, if you're in a very hot environment, that freezing of ice, that takes a lot of energy, and managing frozen ice. You know, is there a more sustainable way that could be done? So kind of looking at that, how is your lemons harvested? How far are they coming from? One of the things my students were doing was measuring carbon footprints for local food production. And we found that sugar does not come from Vermont, where I live. And they were buying fair trade organic sugar from Uruguay that had to be shipped by a container ship all the way up the United States and then trucked into our local community. So, but then we found out that container ships actually have a smaller carbon footprint because so much product is being moved on that. And the most harmful way of delivery is by airplane. So anyway, so looking at that, so our leaves is all that energy, right? How are you producing the energy to keep this business going, including the energy to make the ingredients that you need for your project? And then our flowers, as you guys were already guessing, that's kind of the ingredients, you know, sort of that magic, you know, how is that being put together? And then the fruit, what would be the fruit in our lemonade stand? What's our fruit?
The lemonade.
Lemonade, yeah, what we're making, okay? And then the compost, ooh, where's the compost in our lemonade stand?
Good quality.
Maybe, yeah, it could be a little bit. What else? The compost, what does the compost do for the tree? The compost is made out of the fallen leaves, and it's used by other organisms in the community to create food for the tree, right? To keep it, to replenish it so we can keep growing. So where would that be in our lemonade stand?
The profit or marketing.
Okay, it could be marketing. It could be where we're looking for those outside partners, right? What else are we doing with our lemonade stand?
What about
Okay, where are we putting our
charity coming in?
Okay, it could be charity. I was just Googling. I'll send you guys a link to it. But there's a great article about a little girl here in the United States who started selling lemonade during COVID, and nobody could get lemonade because everyone's quarantined in their houses, but she was selling coupons, so in the future people could get lemonade. And she did it on a Facebook page, and she ended up raising over $20,000 because she used a lot of compost. For example, she went to a local bank and said, hey, if I can raise $10,000, will you match it? Selling lemonade? And the bank's like, sure, yeah, we'll do that. And so she did. She raised $14,000, and then the bank had to put in $10,000. So, you know, looking at different ways that you can continue to grow your business. That's where that compost comes in. How can you partner with other organizations or people? By putting it on the Facebook page and having it be a coupon, everybody could share it. So people were buying this lemonade from her who didn't even know who she was. And the reason they were buying it wasn't because they were thirsty, but it was because she said she was going to raise this money to help support families that didn't have food during COVID. So people were buying the lemonade as a way to support something bigger than that. And then So that's another way that you can be making that compost. And she does have to deliver a product. This girl is 7 years old, but she does have to deliver a product. So she has those real costs as an entrepreneur, but then she's also working this in this area of abundance, right? The apple tree doesn't make one apple. So she has this abundance. She has more resources than she needs to cover her costs. And that can be used for the greater good of feeding many, many families in her community. Cool?
I'm so surprised. I'm amazed. How did you reach here, Tamara? What an amazing thought process. I'm dazzled. I'm lost. Wow. How did you?
Yeah, so
It's
I
an
didn't do
amazing
it by
way of.
myself. Okay, so this isn't my work, right? This is me interpreting the work that other people have done. Okay, so economic permaculture, if you Google that, there's work on that. Okay, and then what the sustainability lens is doing, it's bringing all these really amazing ideas from other people into a single focus so you can use them for your business and benefit your own work.
Can we apply this to in as a teacher as well? As a
What?
teacher, if I apply this permaculture on myself as a director of a center for entrepreneurship, so I will try to apply and present tomorrow.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Please do. And I can send you more materials. I'm looking at my bookshelf because I have 2 bookshelves. I might have my, I might not. I might have my permaculture book on my bookshelf, but I don't think so. I think it's in my other office. But I can give you some links, okay? And economic permaculture has not been that examined, so it still needs a lot more work, but there's been good work done in it. But yeah, it's definitely an area that needs more exploration. The other thing, you guys ready for the last part of the lens? Okay, and this is page 14.
Yes.
Okay, so and this is solidarity economy. And actually I learned about permaculture through my solidarity economy network, which I met. They're based out of UMass here in the United States, the University of Massachusetts, and Emily Kawano, who's a friend of mine, runs that. But they're also part of a larger international network. And I was able to go to a conference in Canada a couple of years ago and present some of the work I was doing there and meet many other people who are working in sustainable economies. And it's called REPES. So it's an international organization of social solidarity economy. I gave you guys links to, there's a Facebook page, which is very active, and it gives you lots of opportunities for jobs, conferences, research, new ways of thinking. It's very collaborative. So it's excellent for entrepreneurs, excellent for graduate students. It's all about inclusion and getting people involved in as many different ways possible in economies. So it's a lot of fun. Countries are doing it. Canada has an office of social solidarity economy. Spain also is doing a lot of work. There's an organization called Mondragon, which is a large cooperative that's very active with solidarity economy. So it's very global. I'm sure there's people in Pakistan working on this. Okay, I haven't researched it that much, but you'll find India also is involved in this. Okay, so the way it works, so I have a model here. This is a model that I like to use a lot because it's very inclusive and it gives a lot of ideas of what this all means. So when we're looking at solidarity economy, what we're looking at, it's a cycle. Okay, so we have this idea of celebration. Oh no, we don't. We have this idea, this is me with my glasses. We have this idea of creation, right? How are you creating something, productivity. So it's sort of like a closed loop way of looking at an economy. And a business can be looked at as an economy because you guys also are creating, producing, sustaining, right? So in this, we go through the cycle. So we have creation, production, exchange, consumption, and what's that say? Surplus allocation, okay? So it's almost like when you're going through the life cycle of a product or a service, okay? And what they're doing is as you're going through this life cycle process, they're identifying other ways that you can be addressing it instead of just through a strict monetary way of understanding something, right? And then in the center, they have some of the basic principles of solidarity economy, which include education and community. So that's why this is such a great piece to be using when you're working in educational environments, because it ties right in. And what I have here is for your homework, I have ways for you to think about in your own enterprise, how are you going to build out your creation? Okay, and if we stay with our lemonade stand, right? So the creation is going to be creating our business, right? What is our economy? What is it that we're going to be doing? The production is going to be, what are we producing? Okay, so lemonade. The creation is lemonade stand, production is lemonade, exchange and transfer is going to be a beverage, right? For some kind of money. Consumption and use, they're going to drink it. In this particular model, it's being drunk out of a paper cup. And then my surplus is going to be the ice cubes that never melted, my cup. Okay, what am I going to do with that stuff? So when I look at it in this model, it gives me many ways to imagine it. So when I'm looking at creation, okay, I'm looking at, and I'm going to put this on my computer so I can see it better.
Murtaza is asking which page is this? Page 14 in the book, in the manual?
Page 14 in your workbook, page 14.
Okay, great.
Okay, and what I love about this is it gives you specific ideas, right, of things that you can do. So when you're looking at creation, like the specific ideas they have is open source collaboration and innovation, right? So we're all developing our enterprises by ourselves, right? We're all in our rooms and our little heads thinking about what can I do? So what if we open this up to other people? Right? What if we had other people help us? Let's collectively develop a lemonade stand for the community, right? Or why don't you all help me develop my lemonade stand instead of me doing it by myself? So a lot of times people think, oh, my business idea, someone's going to steal it. I don't want to share it with anybody because it's so important. It's going to be the best business. I don't want anyone to take it, right? And that's actually the opposite of solidarity economy. And what we find is when you're sharing your ideas with other people, then they can also add to them and make it better, okay? We also have something here called the commons, collective ownership of land, community land trusts. So all of that is part of creation, right? It's making this environment of abundance of resources when you're just getting started. So something that we have here in Vermont, in my rural environment, you know, we have some farming, but a lot of the farmers are old, right? And they're retiring and they're dying. And so then we have these farms that nobody's managing anymore. And land is expensive and young people don't have thousands of dollars to buy farmland. So what we have now is a system that the government in Vermont put together, a legal system where young people can come in and borrow a farm, okay? By leasing the land with the intent of being able to buy it, or having a collective ownership of the land with the farmer who's too old to farm. And actually my son works on one of these farms and they're doing an amazing job, and they created a farm stand and they're selling products from other farms all in this region that aren't big enough to get into the big grocery stores, but still need a place to be sold. And so that's all part of creation. They would have never been able to buy the land and start the farm, but because the farmer was able to share the land with them, they can now do this and feel secure financially because the farmer cannot just take the land back. Okay, so there's a contract and ownership on that land as long as it's being used for farm use. So that's the idea. So in creation, you want to think about how can you get other people to help you with what you're creating? And then the production is looking at employee stock ownership. That was how I started my quinoa company. So here, I'll show you what we have now. Oh, I think that's in a different location. But anyway, so with my quinoa company, we started it as a cooperative. So everybody bought shares in the company to be a part of the company. And with the money that they spent to buy shares in the company, we were able to buy product and do packaging and create our website and start selling our goods. So together we raised the money to start this company, and now we all own this company together. So we made this investment, and this investment is growing because we all did it together. Okay, and legally we are all owners of this company, so we have this stock ownership. We can also do not-for-profit collectives or community wind and solar farms, right? So there's lots of different ways to be working together in production. So far, so good?
It's amazing to see, to learn. It's unbelievable
Yeah,
that you need a lot of internally strong persons who have a purpose of life. Otherwise, ordinary, you see, you need to be a bit selfless, is it?
yeah. Yeah, and I think, and a lot of that, you know, is in, you know, in Pakistan, India, Thailand, you have a very collective culture already. And even in this
Yeah.
lemonade stand model, you know, the model was we're selling to neighbors, we're working with family. That ties directly in with the solidarity economy production. So that's perfect. You know, and the idea of, oh, we're going to make our lemonade stand right here on the street, you know, that's like community land. So that also.
I can bring one guest tomorrow for 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
He's trying to do this in our. He came from the U.S.
Mhm.
and he spent like 20 years in the U.S. and he came to Pakistan and he started a farm here on Solidarity Farm. It just came into my mind just listening to you. After listening to you, Mr.
Mhm.
Asif came to Pakistan, and there are many people from the Hindu community which were discarded. They were so poor, and he brought them on his farm, and he gives them education, good food, and he gives them ownership in his crops, and he gives them respect to their men and women. So,
Mhm.
but we didn't have a framework, and today I'm getting a framework for you from this permaculture, and it's amazing. I don't have words to say thanks to you, Tamara. It's really opened my mind today,
Oh,
listening to
good.
you, and yeah,
And that's what we find is when you start working in this environment, everything starts kind of clicking together. It's a mindset, right? This idea of collaboration and sharing and
dear
abundance.
students, dear students, have you heard about this thing before, Huda, Hassan Rashid, Huda
No, sir.
Sahba? Have you heard about this thing?
No,
No, sir.
sir.
This was really
When you
informative.
look at what we're studying, when we look at studying what we are, how selfish we are actually. We're always talking about
Definitely.
making money, money, money in the bottom line, in the corporate world. How noble people are. I have no words. Anybody would like to comment in my class of what Dr. Tamara has said actually? It has made us speechless in a way. Is it
So I
right,
think this,
Amna?
Yes, sir.
so
Yes,
I
please
think
carry on.
this has opened a completely different perspective in our minds, and this has changed the mindset as well to a certain extent for the entrepreneurs or for the people in this class who attended this session. That's what I believe.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
good. So let's
Mariam,
keep
have
going.
you thought? Yeah, please keep going. We have less
You
time.
want to
Sorry.
keep
Yeah.
going? So we did this, and now we're here. Okay. So when we're looking at this part, we're looking at our exchange and transfers, right? And this is interesting. This is a little bit about what we talked about yesterday with the idea of diversifying the exchange, right? So here we have gifts, we have barter clubs, we have community currencies, solidarity market, sliding scale pricing, fair trade. So we talked earlier about the business in Australia that had, oh, pay your own price, right? Fair trade is buying products that are certified as being produced in a way that workers are being paid properly and the earth is being treated well. But gifts are really interesting. The idea with, we created a lemonade stand here in my class where you bought one lemonade and the other one was a gift. Okay, actually it wasn't a lemonade stand, I'm sorry, it was a bread. So we were working with a baker and he was making bread and he wanted to become more resilient with his business. And so what we did was we created a gifting. So people could buy 2 loaves of bread and 1 loaf was a coupon that they put on the wall. and the other loaf of bread they took themselves. And this was beautiful homemade bread, and he would buy it from, he had a farmer that he worked with that would grow the grain just for him for his bread. And he would pay the farmer in advance, so the farmer had the money to be able to grow the grains. So this person, it was called Hungry Ghost Bread, he had already had this mindset, and he wanted to just make it better. So we created this buy two program. And so people would spend $10. His bread was $5. They would spend $10 for a loaf of bread and then have the coupon for a bread that they would stick on the wall. And then anybody could come in, and maybe they didn't have any money, or they forgot their wallet, or they were hungry, or someone told them about this, and they could take a bread coupon off the wall and exchange that for a bread. So it was a gift. And it was and in the beginning, nobody thought it would really work. But now his wall is full of coupons, but he says it's always moving. I said, are people just buying gifts and they're sitting there? He said, no, people are exchanging these all of the time. So it's something that really works, and people go to that place and they feel good about spending $10 knowing that they just bought someone else a loaf of bread. So that's kind of fun, and it makes them different than any other store, right? So people would think, oh, I'm going to go get my bread from Hungry Ghost because I know that he's a good guy, right? I know that I can help other people in my community, and they don't mind paying an extra $5 knowing that they can do that. So those are the kinds of things. I'm in a barter network, for example, with my clothing company, and it's very business, and we're registered here in the USA. And basically people can buy a sweater from me. I sell it to them at my retail price, and I get that as barter credit that I can then use for something else. So my sweaters are $400. They're expensive. They're hand knit. They're beautiful. And I can sell, 3 sweaters. I get $1,200, and I can use that to get a big, beautiful banner made for my business, or to get a new display stand made for my displays of my sweaters. And that's all done through barter money. So the person that's making the display stands will then, maybe it's a $1,200 display stand. So then they take their $1,200 barter. I pay for that with my $1,200 barter credit that I got from selling sweaters to somebody else, right? So barter is a really great way of being able to do more with your business, where you're selling product instead of exchanging money, right? Because those $400 sweaters only cost me $85 to make, right? But I still got a $1,200 display, and same thing, his $1,200 display, I'm sure it didn't cost him $1,200, right? Maybe it cost him $800 to make, right? But as we have...
Why is the display so costly? Displays start costing $1,200?
Sometimes, yeah, for a custom display that pops up and has really nice graphics, and yeah, this is the United States.
Cost $1,200. Oh.
Yeah, I know, everything's expensive here. So anyway, so that's exchange and transfer. Then, so think about how you can build that into your business, right? How can you, create a sliding scale for this lemonade, or have community currency? That's really fun. There's like Berkshire dollars, which we have also here in the United States, where I can buy $1 in that community. I can spend I think it's 95 cents. I spend 95 cents and I get a $1 currency. And then I can use that in local stores. So I'm getting like a 5% discount on anything I buy, and that local currency can only be used in that area. So it's kind of fun because now it's keeping people buying in that area. I can't use it at Walmart. I can't use it online. I can only use it in the stores on Main Street. And my incentive to buy that currency would be that I get $1 worth of currency for 95 cents. So my lemonade stand can start that, right? My lemonade stand can be the leader that's going into policy and say, hey, we're creating a community currency, here it is. And then help other businesses to also get involved in that. Good. So the last thing the second to last, then we have consumption and use, okay? So that's where, so someone just drank the lemonade and it's all done, right? But what else can we be doing? So here in consumption and use, we have the idea of ethical purchasing, which is consumers being mindful about what they're buying, renewable energy cooperatives, car and ride shares, community supported agriculture. So again, with your lemonade stand, kind of like with our bread, a Hungry Ghost bread worked with a local farmer to grow wheat, right? So why can't the lemonade stand work with a local family that has some lemon trees in their backyards. Maybe many of us have lemon trees in our backyards. And maybe the lemonade stand can say, people, I will buy your lemons from your lemonade tree in your backyard, and create a new economy for people in the local community, right? So that would be an idea of consumption and use, okay, where maybe there's community supported agriculture. Good. And then the last thing is surplus allocation. So what happens, so within nature also, we're always working with this idea of abundance. Okay, so what happens when you have earnings? You can stick it in your pocket, okay? Or you can stick it in someone else's pocket. One of the things that I do with the knitters that I work with is every year we take the profits, and the knitters, the knitting group that's done the best job knitting, they get a grant, they get money for their foundation. So they have an education foundation in their community, and then I'll put a couple of hundred, maybe $1,000 extra into that fund. And that way children in their community can apply to get funding for their college education. But it's a revolving fund. So the idea is after they graduate college, they have to give back to the community or give back to the fund. So we've had the knitters' children go to college and then come back and fix the computer systems for the knitters, or redo their financial system, or do their bookkeeping, or give them money. Okay, so that way we have this revolving loan where the children can be educated, but they also give back to the organization that gave them the money. Good?
Amazing. Great, great. Asghar Azmi, are you there?
Sir.
How's everyone doing? It's been a lot of talking, right? And we're a little bit over time. So I'm gonna kind of open it up to you guys. That's kind of what I wanted to share with you. What we have in our homework is we're looking at pages 15 to 19, which is the 3 E's, which kind of help us kind of think a little more about, okay, we have these different ideas. Now, how do we go back and relook at this business that we're thinking of, our perfume company, our language company, you know, our family bakery, and how do we start building some of these new elements into it? Okay, and the last thing that I have for you guys, and I put it into your folder, is I'm creating a 90-minute elevator pitch, right? And with the pitch, you want to think about your permaculture tree, think about your customer, right? And think about how is this new sustainably enhanced enterprise going to be exciting for your customer, right? And how would you talk to them about what it is that you're doing? But also think about how would you make this sound important and exciting for other people as well. So you want to think about like numbers and scale, or, you know, impact, right? How might you talk about that? And then tomorrow we can do more work on that.
So tomorrow everybody will be getting 90 seconds. And Asghar Azmi, Javeria, and my team, anybody who wants to have an A grade in this course, they're supposed to present. Okay, anybody, Huda, if you want an A grade, Hassan, anybody who wants the best grade, what we will do, Dr. Tamara, why don't we in the morning in my class we have Asghar Azmi, instead of teaching anything else, why don't we practice what Dr. Tamara has taught us today? So that we don't want to lose this opportunity. This is a great opportunity. She gave us her knowledge, her wisdom, her time. So once again today, please everybody develop their business startup model, develop their permaculture model, and develop the third model, the third which she's talking about today. So if we can in the morning when my class starts at 10, we can refine it and hone it and discuss it, and then when Dr. Tamara comes in the evening, then we can present her in a good way. Is this okay?
Okay, and
so your class starts at 11.
Yeah, page 19 in the workbook gives you some space to kind of work on the pitch, but I also gave you a worksheet that has information about a pitch, and also at the bottom there's a link to a YouTube of a student giving a very good pitch. So you'll have an example.
You have an example on page 19?
No, I have an example on a worksheet that I made that I put into our folder. It looks like this. Let's see.
Oh,
It's
can
brand new. I
everybody?
just put it in. It's called 5 Tips on Making a Powerful 90-second Pitch. Okay.
Okay, so it's how many pages?
It's 3 pages, and it has this great infographic that just tells you second by second what you need to do. And then at the very end, on the last page, I have a link here to a student who is doing a 90-second pitch as an example of a good pitch. So you can look at that YouTube video. Okay, so this is in your Google folder. I just put it in, and
There's
it's
a video,
called 5 Tips on Making.
there's a video as well.
Yeah, there's a link to the video. So you have to.
Do you have a sample? Oh, there's a sample video available. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, it's in YouTube. So you
So
just
we have
have
a sample
to.
video.
Yeah, so you just click on the link in YouTube and you can see the video.
So my dears to Asghar Azmi, can you please share the link with everybody? And
Yes, sir, I will do
everybody,
that.
and can I have some quick presentations as a quick presentation? And when is the time of the class tomorrow, Asghar?
It's 6
What
o'clock.
is the tomorrow?
Your
My
class
class,
starts
my
at
class.
11 o'clock, sir.
10 nahi?
So 10 is some other session, law and IP. With
Okay.
Shoaib
So
Salim,
my
sir.
dear students, at 11 o'clock tomorrow, is there any volunteer we can prepare for the evening sessions? Huda, would you like to present for 2 minutes tomorrow at 11? Try kar lein thoda sa, haan, bache? Can you try? Okay, so Huda will try. We want to present something good to Dr. Tamara, otherwise she will be angry. She will be.
And this is also, it's not like Shark Tank on TV. We're not going to be critical. This is a place where we can learn. And it's also a place where people can make suggestions like, oh, I really liked how you presented this particular part, but have you considered, also including something else? So it's a place for us to all share and learn together and support each other in a positive way. It's not a competition. It's not a critique.
Exactly.
Okay, it's a place where we all learn and grow together.
Nimi, I would like you to do one presentation for 2 minutes. Parn Mada, would you like to present for 2 minutes tomorrow?
Sure.
In my class, we will refine it and then get better by the evening when in Pakistan evening time. Murtaza Muzammil, I want you to present tomorrow, please, and I will present as well. And I want to be student of this as well. So, any other question from Dr. Tamara? I really am thankful from the depth of my heart, and because I've learned it, and I think we can. It's necessity of the time to help our young people to come forward, and let's make this world a better place to live.
Yeah, and I'm so looking forward to having you come to my classroom also and teach my students. So that's also part of what we're doing with Solidarity Economy and reciprocity. Right? As I'm here.
I doubt I could do that good as you did. I doubt that I will be able to do that good as you did. You were engaging and amazing. So I will hope that I come up to the expectations.
No, I'm sure you will.
Yes.
All right, very good. Well, thank you, everybody. Sorry about going over a little bit on your time.
Who would like to thank? Javeri Arshid, would you like to thank Dr. Tamara? She's an MBA student and she is. Javeria, would you like to, what is your comments, your take, and quick thank?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Note.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very, very interesting session and I enjoyed it thoroughly. And the information, the knowledge that you are sharing here is like commendable. And it's what Dr. Shah said, that it opened our eyes that we have been like thinking about businesses to make money, but it's more than that. And we have to, we have to give back to the community as well.
Wow. Nimi, you want
Thank
to
you
say
so
something?
much.
Nimi is our manager. She's the manager of our Women Entrepreneurship Program. She joined us 5 days ago. Nimi, say thank you. And what is your take? What is your learning? Quick.
Sure. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Sten. Thank you so very much for a very, very insightful sessions that you are providing us. And I must say, you are giving a very different perspective to us, and we are learning a lot of new things. And I am looking forward for tomorrow to present my idea and get it refined by you. Thank you so much.
Javeria, can you do as well? Javeria, Arshad, I would like you to do present something. 2 minutes only. Okay, beta?
You would be surprised to know that I have opened the workbook already and I'm trying to read the model already to,
Wow.
you know,
These are my
yeah.
team. These are not students. These are my team members. And Tamara, I want them to learn as well because I want them
Yeah.
to be good people. So once again, Dr. Tamara, thank you very much for your time, commitment, and I hope your kids are fine and have a good day, good night. God bless you. God bless you. Thousands. In German, we call thousand danke. Thousands and thousands of thanks.
Right. And you know what? I just had a chance to take a quick peek at the chat. I wasn't looking at it during the presentation, sorry. And I put up 3 links. So I put up one link to the Facebook. I hope everyone has access to Facebook. But I put up a link to the Repest Facebook page, which just has great information on it all the time. And the lemonade stand story that I talked about, and also the example of the pitch. So those links are up there.
Oh,
I'll put up another one also for a link to the article that talks about how to do the pitch, the 5 journeys. So this is from a woman in the United States. It's from her blog, and it's very good. So I'll put that up here too, how to pitch. But this is also in your folder, but I just put it here too.